What are we listening to today?
The Immigrant Project by Girish and Astha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Girish here in a new office today, and Asta is behind the camera. Welcome to another episode of the Immigrant Project. I am sitting with the founder and the CEO of Bargains Group, Jody Steinhauer, and I'm holding three business cards of Jody. I mean, you should have heard the explanation that she gave right now, the work that she does. It's crazy. I mean, she manages three companies. Of course, Bargain Group is the parent company, and then Engage and Change
A charity.
is a charity organization, and there's something called as Kids for Cause as well. But we let Jody spend some time and talk about what these three organizations do.
Great, thank you. Bargains Group is the parent company. Founded it 36 years ago. We're based in Toronto. And when I started the company, we bought very large, what we used to call inventories or job lots of clothing, and we packaged them into smaller groups and we sold them to retail stores. We wholesaled them to retail stores across Canada. But back then, we had no internet. We didn't have websites. We actually had something called a telephone, and you picked up the phone and you called the store and you
Yeah.
sold these amazing bargains. We then, the business started to change after my passion, which is helping the less fortunate. And we became the go-to for homeless shelters, charities, not-for-profits, refugees, disaster relief. So when any of these groups need the things they don't get donated, socks, underwear, hygiene, Christmas gifts, bedding linen, we are the go-to and the one-stop shop where they can get it at 80% off.
Wow.
We have warehouses also filled with donations that companies donate us amazing product that we do one for one. So we're always trying to help these charities. We have a promotional products division where we do custom logoed swag or merch for lots who everybody wants it, because people like dealing with a company who has purpose.
Sure.
And that's what we do. We have purpose. Then 27 years ago, somebody in Toronto died in downtown Toronto, a homeless person, and
Okay.
I got really upset. So I reached out to the shelters in the downtown core and said, how could I have prevented this? I'm a fixer.
Yes.
And they said, Jody, he needed a sleeping bag. And if he had had a sleeping bag, he'd be alive. And I'm thinking, that's it? That's
Awesome.
crazy. So I reached out to all the charities around and basically said, what do you need for the next 3 months during the winter so nobody will die? And how many people do you serve?
Yeah.
Got all that product together, reached out to 20 business owners and presidents of companies and said, we have a problem. I have
Would
a
you like to
solution.
Yeah.
I'd like a little bit of money and come to my warehouse on Saturday. And we had the first kit packing event. And I invited a social worker, someone with lived experience being homelessness. We had a very, very raw conversation. And we talked about things that aren't on the news. And then we packed all of these amazing kits. We loaded 10 social service and not-for-profits with all of these supplies so nobody would die. And nobody died for the next 3 months. And all the presidents of the companies said to me, Jody, like, this was the most incredible experience I've ever had. I want all my employees to do this. And can my family come?
Wow.
And that experience became Project Winter Survival, which this January will be our 26th year. And we're serving somewhere between 200 and 250 charities. Within 2 hours now of Toronto, they're all signing up now for these free donations.
Yeah.
Because they don't have funding to buy things like sleeping bags and gloves and toques so that people won't freeze to death. Then we started a summer project, Project Water, because more people in Canada who are homeless die of dehydration than they do of the colds. And those two projects became the charity Engage and Change because the business people said, this is what we want to do, but we need to get a tax receipt if we're going to do it. So that's the reason we became a charity, but we have no employees. We're very grassroots. And then the last part that I do is Kits for a Cause, which is my newest venture, which is a global matchmaking engagement program. So basically we're matchmakers. We've got companies who want to help and do engaged philanthropy. And we've got charities who are in desperate need of help. But when a company calls them and says, I have 200 employees and we'd love to come and volunteer next Thursday. What time should we show up? The charity's like, we don't have anything for them to do. So Kits for a Cause is solving that problem. The charities can send them all to us.
Yeah.
We will create an entire event for the company where they're engaged, they learn, they pack kits, and they give. And on the other hand, companies call us all day long and say, we want to do something, but they get stuck. So Kits for a Cause is what I call, it's a matchmaker. It's a plug and play model that's changing the way people do philanthropy. And it's just exploded all over the world.
Wow, it's so interesting to see you being passionate about the things that you do. And in fact, last year when my company was trying to participate in an event like such, we were struggling to find someone, and then we came across something called as the Good Shepherd on Queen Street, and we were
They're a
helping.
client.
Yes. Oh,
They're a client of ours. They get donated kits and they do Kits for a Cause. So yes.
yeah. So we volunteered there for a day, and we intend to do it again this year. So
And depending on the size, how many people went?
my
Under 10?
my company.
Yeah.
So we are a small team. We are five of us.
So
So
if you
all
have
of us.
5, it's not so difficult. You can find things to do. But if you have 10, 20, or hundreds, it doesn't exist, right? And a lot of the business Kits for a Cause does is when you're doing a conference or strategic planning and you're getting hundreds and thousands of people together, that's where they want to, they want to learn, they want to do good, but they want to give back. And those
Absolutely.
experiences just don't exist. So we bring those experiences to those people.
Wow. So Jody, you mentioned that you have been in the business, started your business about 30 plus years ago. Have you ever, taken a step back, look from a very macroscopic lens of the impact that you have created and, progressively help people each year? Have you ever done that?
I think about it every day because I am so grateful for what I have, but I'm also so grateful to be able to wake up every single day and do what inspires me because that's a gift, right? I've built what I want to do. I've always said if I work crazy hours, I work 15, 20 hours a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week, but I love what I do, so it's not work. So I'm constantly evaluating, geez, like, what can I give up or what can I outsource or what can I delegate? Because I think it's really important to take a step back and say, wow, this was really great. I made this amount of impact. And also reflection is really important. It's great to plan, but it's also
Yes.
great to reflect on what you're doing. And we all don't always do the right thing,
We-
right? So I've got to
Yes.
reflect on, hey, I shouldn't have spent too much time on that because I could have invested that time in doing another good deed.
Wow. Uh, Jody, so one of the key themes that we always discuss with our guests is empowerment in business.
Mhm.
So you've been a business person for the past 30 plus years. How important do you think empowering someone, especially a team member, is when it comes to empowering them to start their own business?
To start their own
Own business,
business.
yeah, or start
Um,
or pursue their passion.
I say to everybody in my team, if you don't love what you're doing at this company, then leave, right? I say it all the time. They'll tell you, in order to do the work we do, it's a very intense, passionate work. When we hire people, I basically say, listen, we're almost like a mini cult, right?
Yeah.
If you don't drink the Kool-Aid, if you don't come into this room and see all the good we do, and that doesn't excite you, this is not the place for you. Because my people are incredible people and they work really, really super hard. But when you're exhausted and you know that, you know what, I'm exhausted, but I helped so many people. The Good Shepherd, I helped make sure that they have warm gloves and warm socks and clean underwear. It's a different kind of work. So I had an employee just recently who said, you know what, I'm leaving. I got offered an incredible job. I'm getting paid double. I'm not going to be happy. And I said to them, listen, if that's what you're looking for,
Yes,
it's a
yeah.
young person. And I said, if you were my daughter, I would say to you, don't chase the money. The money will come when you're passionate.
Yes.
The money follows you. Okay. But people who chase money, in my experience, end up being miserable.
Wow, that's such a strong advice to give. And yeah, that's true. If you're passionate, then only you will be able to survive in the work that you're doing.
And and it's not work, right?
It's not work at the
If
end.
you
Yeah.
watch a clock and you punch a clock and you leave at 5 o'clock, um, that's fine. But you know what? If you're really passionate, you lose track of time. You're like, oh my, and you also get the
Thrill.
satisfaction.
Yes.
And when you're not working, you're working. Your eyes are always open. Opportunities come to you. I mean, I think it's really, really important. And There are so many people, especially when you get to be older, when you get to be my age, when you see people around you that aren't happy.
Hmm.
You know, they may have very large careers in the corporate world and making very big paychecks, but they're miserable. And there's a lot of them, because I can tell you how many people in the corporate sector come to me because I'm all about purpose, right?
Hmm.
I think the new economy is all about finding purpose and making impact. So there's a lot of people who come to me and say, like, I'd love to work with you and make a difference. And I say, great, what's your number? Where do you need to be? And some of those numbers, I'm like, good luck to you.
Hmm.
You've been golden handcuffed, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to leave. You're not going to be able to do
Yes.
purposeful work unless you start your own thing and figure it out, because there's not going to be a charity, not for profit, or social enterprise that's going to pay you that money. And that's probably why they're paying you so much. So you either have to
Wow.
take a lifestyle adjustment, which is
Yeah.
really hard in an economy like this. So, I say to people, I'd rather, and I have 5 children, and I say to all of them, like, don't go after the money
Money.
ever. I'd rather you not go to school. Don't go to university. Figure out what you love to do. If you like to snowboard, then great. Be the best
Mhm.
snowboarder. Go, travel around
Chase
the
your
world.
passion.
Chase your passion, because people don't understand the cost of being miserable.
Wow.
When you're not happy,
Hmm.
you're not going to come home to your partner or to your spouse. You're going to be a terrible parent. Your health is going to deteriorate, and it's just a downward spiral. But when you're happy and you exude happiness, everything goes right.
Everything
And
is
when
right.
it doesn't, it's okay.
Yeah.
You look at it in a positive atmosphere, but that's up to you. That's not up to anybody else. You drive the car.
Wow. I'm sure a lot of businesses approach you, Jody, but have you ever said no to someone, or is there a line that you draw when it comes to
Oh, yeah,
businesses,
sure.
industries?
Yeah. I mean, saying no to a business deal you're talking about, or
Ye-
transaction, or what?
I
Say no
mean,
to
I
what?
mean, a business approaching you saying that they want to contribute to a cause, but then you say no. There's
Um,
something that
if
we know.
if a business wants to donate to a cause, I mean, it depends on what cause. I mean, if I don't think the cause needs what they want to donate, I'm going to be honest with them and say,
Yeah.
happy to take your money, but I wouldn't waste your money there. Absolutely. I mean, we really here have an ethical compass.
Hmm.
Our number one core value is we consciously care, and it says right in brackets, we give a shit. And that means about each other, and it means about our clients. I have no salespeople. I do no business development. I don't believe in advertising. Okay, but I believe if you are authentic and you work hard and you do a great job for your clients, then they come back. They don't leave you. They tell people, and Google finds you. you know.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah. While you must not believe in advertising, but you do believe in PR.
I
And
totally believe in
can you
PR.
tell us something about this wall behind us?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of, we probably have another 500 of these. I believe very much in telling your story and making sure that, get the word out there, because, you know, some of these pictures, my children will tell you, what stage of my life is, but it's
Yeah.
really just telling the stories that we talk about. A lot of it is about charities and work we've done and what we're passionate about. And I really believe the more you tell the stories, the
Yeah.
more people will say, oh, that's really cool. Tell me about that. Or maybe
Yeah.
there's a ripple effect that they'll feel. I've been doing work helping the less fortunate for decades. Most companies haven't been. But when they meet me or they hear me speak, they're usually like, wow, well, we should probably do something like that.
Exactly.
So
Why haven't we heard about you before?
yeah, and I have a saying that I say, giving back makes great business sense.
Hmm.
So I have no problem telling my stories of how I created my charity and how I did that, because hopefully that's going to attract the right type of people who want to do business with me.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's going to attract the people who want me to help them do philanthropic work, or at least tell their friends, and there's a ripple effect. So I think PR is super, super important. There's no question.
I love that answer. I also wanted to talk to you about business, Jody, because when you started your journey of being a business person, I'm sure the landscape was different. The political landscape was just different, and it is different now. Maybe it's not as supportive as you used to be, or maybe it is. I am not sure. But I was doing I was reading a report, and I saw that businesses in general end up paying around 38% tax when they initially start their business. Now I'm sure it it varies from different businesses and different sizes of enterprises. If you're a smaller business, you'll of course pay less. But how has the landscape changed in your opinion in the past 30 years? Is it easier to do business, or is it easier for someone like me to start my own business, or was
Again,
it?
I think it goes back. First of all, nothing's easy these days, right? I think technology has been an absolute curse for business. There's
Oh,
no question. Things were a lot simpler, people respected each other a lot more. They didn't have so many distractions. I mean, you had only this many TV stations. You didn't have the internet. I mean, we talked about PR. I used to do a media interview
yeah.
for my charity, and it would be on the 6 o'clock news, every station. And within seconds, I had donations just flying in. Okay.
Wow.
Now I can be the same thing and nobody even watches news, right? So it's so diversified. People get their news from so many different places. So
And there's
if you
so
have an
much
article
noise
you have an
going
article in the paper,
yeah.
people go, you actually read the
Read paper,
paper.
exactly.
So everything's just so fragmented, right? um, everything is everything's so much more complicated. And the other challenge with business now, I find, is the Amazon effect. Everybody expects everything, me included.
Quick delivery.
You make a call. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, one of my children got their computer stolen at LaGuardia Airport in the
Oh
security
no.
the security bin. They had to run to get the plane, but someone took it right out of the security bin. Came home 10:30 at night and said, what am I going to do? I have to go to work. They're in marketing. They needed the computer. We literally went online, had to buy a new computer because we didn't have a choice. And we bought the computer quicker than we ordered a pizza. And it was ready at the Apple store at 10 o'clock the next morning. It was crazy, right? So, I mean, on one hand, technology, I guess, is great in that way, but we're also reliant, and we have no patience, and our expectations are like this. So it's hard. We are all consumers, and we're very demanding, and there's just so many complications. People is the biggest challenge. There's no
Yeah.
question. Um, and everything, everything is just so much more. When we didn't have email, we actually talked to people. We visited clients. We had many more interactions. I'm an old-fashioned people person. I want to get on the phone with someone. I want to get on a Zoom. I want to get on, have a conversation. But the younger generation doesn't want to talk
Doesn't
to
want,
anybody.
yeah.
They just want to
Text.
text or email. And yeah, it's really appropriate and efficient when you just want to say, can you send me a case? Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
But I have 30,000 SKUs in my company, and we truly care. So if you want to order, socks, I've got 50 kinds. So I want to talk to you, and I can't do that. It's actually not efficient asking questions back and forth.
Yeah.
So I really feel the human component is much worse than it ever was. Connectivity, and then COVID only made that so much worse. And we're all craving connection. We're human beings, which then contributes to loneliness and mental health. And, there's just a snowball effect and isolation. And I think, the days of coming home after school and playing hide and seek or road hockey or throwing a baseball around. Yeah. When I tell my kids that, they're like, what? What's hide and seek? They don't even know what it is, playing a board game or, life was simpler, but
slower,
whatever you did, you connected with people. Now we're just, we're all on screens, we're busy. We don't go to the mall now as a leisure activity. We go to the mall when we need something.
Yeah.
When I grew up, we'd go take a girlfriend. Hey, let's go to the mall. Let's go for a walk. Let's go shopping, and we'll talk and have. It doesn't happen anymore. So I think that amazing leisure time we used to have has just been absolutely absorbed by business and the expectation of I need it now, right? And that's really tough. And it means you have to be very, very disciplined about, where are your boundaries? Do you work from home? Do you work hybrid? And being able to say to a client, I'm really sorry. I'm dark right now. I'll get back to you. And clients are like,
I know. We have become really impatient.
Very impatient. But I call it the Amazon effect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid.
That's a nice way to call it.
God forbid you order something and it doesn't come in one day. You go crazy, right? You go crazy. And you know what? Small and medium-sized company can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
They just can't. That's not, what we do.
Wow. So, okay, people, processes, profit. I know profit is a bloodstream of any business. So
Yeah.
how do you value or rank all these 3 pointers: people, process, profit? Which is first, second, and third for you?
Um,
Let's hear your
there are,
priorities.
I would say people for sure is first, because if you don't have the right people, you're not going to make profit or they're not going to follow processes. So people are instrumental. And it's taken me a long time. I would say to you right now, I've been doing this for 36 years, my own company, 36 years. And I would say to you, in the last 12 months only, I have the best team I've ever had in 36 years.
Wow.
Right? Now, my fault. I own the company, but you know what? I kept a lot of people on
Who
for
were not
many
right?
years that were B players or C players. Why? Because at the time, they were the best of what I could find. Okay.
Yeah.
But hiring and recruiting is really, really takes a lot of extra time. And I hire for cultural fit. I can train anybody anything. I hire for cultural fit. But people also have challenges. You know, they have illnesses, family members, whatever. So people are by far the stability of my company, and also we all have personal lives. I went through a really really toxic divorce for literally almost a decade.
Oh.
By doing that, while I was doing that, I couldn't be all in on my company. I was like, you know, juggling, trying to keep the company going, try to be a mother to my children, dealing with lawyers, dealing with craziness. And during that time, I couldn't make any big staff changes. I knew
Oh
I had
yeah.
people that weren't proper or weren't the best that I needed, but I had to make choices sometimes. So people is a really,
People
really
is first for you,
relevant to me. People as well. And
followed by processes.
processes, yes, I was going to say I've been working really hard on processes. And if you have great processes, it makes it easier for the people, right?
Hmm.
And it makes you more
Makes it more,
efficient.
more efficient for the people. Yeah, I was just
And
going to say that.
people know, you know, everybody wants to know, well, if this happens, what do I do? Right? People want to be independent. They want to feel like, you know, they're privileged to make their own decisions and things like that. But if you don't have good processes, it's very difficult to do that. And again, it takes a long time when you're a smaller business and you're, you know, you're just worrying about paying the bills. I mean, the processes, you know, I think it comes through maturity. But if you can start with the right processes and model yourself after a business that has ones, or, you know, great thing would be franchises. Like they've got
Hmm.
amazing processes. And to me, it's worth buying a franchise if it's the right fit for you, because you don't have to do all of that, you know, which takes a long, long time if you don't have experience doing it. So processes are key.
Yeah, someone once told me that you hire the right person in your team, and you will never have to work on the processes and worry about profits for that processes ever. Uh, Jody, we have time for one last question. I want to make this a very important question for this interview. So you spoke about hiring for the right culture fit, and there's a sentiment going around that there are too many immigrants in the country right now, and we need to reduce the numbers, which the government is doing. They have reduced the number for the upcoming year by 21%. So do you think it's the fault of immigrants, first of all? And what percentage of staff would you say a company would hire immigrants, or would they look at the fit first?
So that's a lot of questions you
Okay.
ask me all the time.
Okay.
So firstly, I will tell you, I love hiring immigrants. Okay. First of all, I like to hire the right person for the job. Okay. Whether they're Canadian or they're an immigrant, it's important that they're passionate about the work we do here. Okay. I would say, in my experience, and I'm going to be generalizing, when many people come to this country, they really want to make it. It's a huge sacrifice to move and uproot yourself. So if you're going to do that, then you've really got to make, and it's harder to get in, right? You've got to get experience. You've got to, you know, it's a new culture. There's a
Exactly. Yeah.
lot of challenges. But I'm also going to tell you, I bring in a lot of interns and I work with a lot of the schools and bringing immigrants on to give them work
So you
study.
give them opportunity
Tons.
to.
I work right
Yeah.
now. I've probably got 10, right?
Wow.
And many of them have been hired, right? So right now I've got several. But I love working with them. Why? Because in most cases, when I get the right fit and they will work harder than my Canadians because they want to make a mark. Okay.
That's true.
So there are quite a few who I'll say, you want to keep work. I have no problem. I said it to two of them today.
Yeah.
I said, "You're interns here. Let me just let you know, if you did that when you're out of school, you'd be fired in 5 seconds. So
Wow.
my job is to teach you what's acceptable. But I don't have to tell somebody, show up. My three things: show up early, stay later, and ask if there's more you can do and learn, and be a sponge, right? And whether you're Canadian or whether you're an immigrant, that's what you should do. But Canadians have been pretty lucky, very, very lucky. But I will say, I have many of my team who is immigrants, and they're working a couple jobs. They had come in with a smile on their face. They don't complain. They have a positive attitude, and they really, really want to make a difference. And that's, to me, what the best employees do. They consciously care. I have them in all sorts of roles: marketing, kits for a cause right now. I'm helping someone get their PR. I'm helping bring in, I'm helping lots of different things because of all the craziness of the laws changing. But our country needs both. And, you know, I believe if somebody's coming here and wants to, and they have the skills, and you get a job as an employer, it makes me crazy what they do to make people jump through hoops. If I want to hire somebody to make money and contribute to the economy, I should not be told who I can hire. If they're here, if they're here legally,
Yeah.
for whatever that means, then let me. How am I going to make more money for our country
Yeah,
if you're
exactly.
telling me I have to hire someone that's Canadian when there's no one available with that attitude, and then that's the right fit? And that is wrong as far as I'm concerned. So I'm all for hiring as many immigrants as I can if they're the right fit for the job. And really, that's what it is, with the right attitude.
Wow. And before we go, Jody, if people have to reach out to you or if they want to apply in a company, what's the best process to go about it?
Google me, find me, you'll find me. Yeah. LinkedIn, email, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
And I think it's really, really important that everyone understands that it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Work hard, have a positive attitude, be consistent, show up, and be authentic.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.